Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
the People's Channel?
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Yes, it's Saturday night and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Alex Armstrong alongside Will Kingston, Dr. Renee, Bruce Hamill and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show,
Hypocrisy, thy name is Ange.
Labour choose migrants over women and children.
arrest, detain, deport, mass migration is here.
Council snowflakes triggered by flags.
And digital ID is no big deal.
It's 6 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5. Yes, get all your comments in. I love knowing what you think, and we read out, I say it every week and I won't stop saying it, we read out more of your comments on this show than any other show on GB News, so get your comments in, and of course, Ask the 5 from 8 o'clock. You can get your comments read out by the panel here. Now, I want to tell you some news because, of course, there's a little bit of changes happening on the Saturday 5, so from next weekend, everybody on this panel is going to get a chance to present an episode of this show. So from next week, you're going to hear Will sat there. He'll still be in this box in the corner over there, but you'll hear him talking and not me, which will be excuse me, brilliant.
I'll start
absolutely terrible.
I'll start acting as host now. I'd like to apologise to the audience for that slip of the tongue.
It was. I didn't get the words up, but it's going to be great fun, and I hope you can all tune in because it's going to be brilliant. And of course, from 9 o'clock tonight, Alex Armstrong Tonight is debuting, so I hope you can stay tuned. And Dr. Renee will be taking over for me from the Saturday 5 Extra. Doc's very excited to hear what you're going to have planned for us on the Extra. It'll be interesting. Charlie Rowley's going to be coming into the studio, so lots of changes on the Saturday 5. I think you're all going to love it. So, of course, get your thoughts in, gbnews.com/yoursay, and while you're there, get your questions in for Ask the 5 and gbnews.com/poll. Here are the things we're asking you to vote on for our Saturday scrap. Should we bring back national service? Should people on benefits be allowed to go on holidays? And what's worse, migrant hotels or HMOs? gbnews.com/poll. Get that in before 7 o'clock. But before we start tearing each other apart and I make any more rude words on national television, Saturday Night News with someone more professional, Bethany Elsey.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Bethany Elsey with your top stories from the GB Newsroom, and we'll start with some breaking news. 5 people have been arrested during protests outside a hotel housing migrants in West London. Police say the group wearing masks attempted to enter the Crown Plaza Hotel and damaged the security hoarding. Hundreds of protesters and counter-protesters have gathered outside hotels across the country today, and further action is expected tomorrow. It's after the Court of Appeal overturned an injunction which would have blocked asylum seekers from being housed at the Bell Hotel in Epping. Following the verdict, several councils are considering legal action to try and stop the practice. Criticism over the Deputy Prime Minister's tax affairs are now coming from within her own party. Graham Stringer is the first from the Labour Party to publicly condemn Angela Rayner over whether she paid the correct tax on her various homes, saying the optics don't look good. It's after reports Miss Rayner, who is also the Housing Secretary, avoided paying £40,000 in stamp duty when buying her new flat in East Sussex by telling tax authorities it was her main home. Although entirely legal, the Conservatives are calling for an investigation. Police in Ukraine have launched a murder investigation after an MP has been shot and killed in the western city of Lviv. Authorities say the gunman fired several shots at the former parliamentary speaker Andrei Parubi, killing him instantly. The attacker fled the scene and a manhunt is underway. 2 men have been charged after police found more than £500,000 worth of cannabis at a property in North Lanarkshire. Nearly 900 plants were recovered from the residence on Merry Street in Motherwell. A 33-year-old and a 30-year-old were arrested and are expected to appear at Hamilton Sheriff Court on Monday. And Gordon Ramsay has revealed he's undergone treatment to remove skin cancer from the side of his face. The TV chef was diagnosed with basal cell carcinoma, a non-melanoma form of skin cancer. In a post on Instagram, he thanked his medical team for their fast reactive work. Cancer Research UK replied to his post, urging people to cover up and apply sun cream generously. You're up to date. I'll have more for you in an hour's time.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Yes, welcome back to the Saturday 5, everybody. Let's read some of your comments out quickly here. Ellie says, "Oh my God, Bruce, welcome. I love all your videos online." Now, just to be clear, Bruce isn't a OnlyFans content creator. He's purely social political commentary. Is that right, Bruce?
That's very right.
Interesting brand extension.
Yeah. If all else fails.
Never say never.
Never say never, hey.
Here we go.
I've got nice hands.
Jay says, hello, Jay. Jay says, digital ID is no big deal. He's talking about you, Kai. Well, Kai's off to a disaster of a start. It's the same every week, Jay.
Well,
Kai's always off to a disaster of a start.
Thanks for reminding me what my topic was.
Is it going to be interesting when he's hosting this show? I wonder what you'll think about. What do you think about Kai hosting this show? James says, I think Kai should present every Saturday when the Saturday falls on the 32nd day of every month. Over the next 3 hours, the biggest debates, hottest topics and entertaining interviews. Let's crack on with tonight's first debate. And this is my last chance to abuse this position, at least for a few weeks, because we will rotate. But I'm going to kick us off. And I say this: arrest, detain and deport. Yes, I'm talking about mass deportations. British people are seemingly fed up with being taken for mugs time and time again by political parties that promise you change, promise you they will take the tough action to stop illegal migration, but never do. Well, this week, Reform UK finally put out their plan to end this humiliation of our country by spelling out its detailed plan for mass deportations of illegal migrants. Well, they claim they will be able to deport over 600,000 people within 4 years. To do this, they have stated they would have to leave the ECHR and end our subscriptions to other conventions that have enabled even foreign rapists to stay in Britain. Well, of course, this policy sent the media, and the liberal elites and the establishment into a fury, with many of them clutching their pearls over the thought of us deporting a single migrant, let alone the women and children that they ended up talking about endlessly for hours. But the reality is, the Overton window has shifted. The vast majority of Brits now see immigration as their #1 issue in this country. And that seems to be reinforced with Reform UK rising again in the polls. But a further question that many are now asking is, are these plans for deportations going far enough? Well, let's ask that question to the rest of the panel here. Kai, I'll start with you. Well, of course, you saw Nigel Farage's plans for mass deportations to end the migrant crisis. Much more robust than anything this government has put out, and we can at least say that would probably act as a deterrence. Do you think the mass deportations are too soft?
You know I don't think that. No, obviously, Britain is at a crossroads right now, and you know that I believe that the left hasn't really woken up to the fact that the British people are asking for much more robust action than what we've seen from the Tories and Labour, who have both sort of tinkered around the edges, but actually makes them look like they're the same party, and actually Brits are grasping for something else. Now, what I actually think about mass deportations and so on is it's easy enough for Nigel Farage to say right now, but I think he knows in his heart of hearts it's not deliverable. Even Donald Trump has come up against that, right? Yes, he is deporting people. Yes, it's impacted the border crisis and fewer people are crossing. But has he deported even close to the number that he wanted to? No, and I don't think he will.
He's got loads
because
of time.
it's much more difficult.
He's got loads of time. He's got loads of time to do it. But he's got loads of time to do it, and it's a massive country.
So does the Labour Party.
And he's got illegal migration down to zero. Zero.
Yeah.
Well, Renee?
I put to you, Kai, yes, so does the Labour Party, but they actually don't have the stomach for it or the will. Because when they're gaslighting us day after day, Angela Eagle this week, standing and saying to us, nobody wants to close the hotels more than I do. Well, I've got something for you, Angela. We do.
Yeah.
We want to close them much faster than you do. They don't have the stomach for it. At heart, they're an open borders party.
The one thing I would point out, though, that it was only 12 or 18 months ago that Nigel Farage was saying that mass deportations would take us down a very dark path. He was saying that in all likelihood it would be too difficult, it was impractical. I don't think this is incredibly encouraging. This is directionally fantastic, but this is not necessarily a win for reform as much as it's a win for the online right-wing media, for GBNews, for all the people who had the courage to talk before saying mass deportations was unacceptable. That is the big change. You said it about the Overton window. That's the fantastic thing.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you guys have said. It's I think what we need to also focus on as well is the prevention of them coming in the first place.
Yeah.
Because although we have a lot of people here that shouldn't be here, where is the policy to stop this happening? It's happening in other countries. Poland refuse it. Denmark are now taking measures. Norway are taking measures. France and Germany seem to be coping with it OK. Why are we not stopping this happening?
Well, everyone in France is coming here.
Yes. and it seems like, Renee, they're shepherding them across.
Yeah. I mean, do you think Keir Starmer's complicit in well, no, Keir Starmer personally, but do you think the Labour government's complicit in these things? Because at the end of the day, we all know this ridiculous one-in, one-out deal with France is never going to work, is it? We all know it's completely pointless. We've seen in the last week the French police are saying, the French border police are saying they're not going to go into the waters. The French government looks like it's about to collapse, which means most of Keir Starmer's deals going out the window, and we're still paying them $500 million. Should we get a refund?
If we didn't have such a, and I'm going to talk about the weather again, if we didn't have such a nice summer this summer, right, do you imagine what the numbers would have actually started to look like? Because the numbers of people who are being detained or being deported, they are going down, the cost is going down, and I heard from some reform sources that they think actually by the end of this Parliament the small boats crisis will have abated somewhat under Labour.
We've got record
so isn't
numbers,
this, and you talk about the Overton window, and I'm interested to hear what Will has to say, right? Where does this end? Because don't you think, given that Nigel Farage has been against mass deportations, now he's for, do you really think if mass deportations becomes sort of normal mainstream policy, is that where it ends, or are things going to go even further? Because I think that does lead us down a worrying path.
Well, this is a good question, actually. Will, do you think we should... I mean, my question really to the panel was, is this plan actually not strong enough?
Well, we need to concede that illegal immigration is a huge problem, but it is not the biggest problem. Legal migration is the biggest problem. Where does this end is hopefully a harder line on legal migration and net negative migration, which I think Farage has now come around to, but certainly the Conservatives and Labor haven't got close to saying that.
Net negative would mean that actually legal migrants are leaving as well. right?
It would mean more people. So net negative for legal migration means that more people are leaving
than coming.
Yes. Over the course of the year.
Yes, that's right. What do you think, Renee? Do you think do you think this is the start of the conversation around mass deportations?
I think that probably from reform now this is the start, and I see them going much further. But I do agree with Bruce that the first step needs to be that not one more boat should be landing on our shores, because while they
escorted into our shores.
Escorted into our shores, because while they keep coming, they keep needing all of our services, all of our money that we're paying for, and all of our kindness.
But easy to say, but difficult to do, Renee. You know.
Yeah, well, that's what we keep hearing from all these wet politicians. But I think we just need someone with a spine and a backbone to deliver it. But there we go. Lots more coming up on after the break. But now it's time for our latest Great British giveaways. Our biggest prize to date, worth over, get this, 104 grand. You could win a 4-berth motorhome worth over 64 grand, plus a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here's Hayley Sparkles with all the details.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof light, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For a chance to win the motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck. I'm really jealous. I'd love to win that motorhome. I'd just love to go.
It's a rip-up.
Anyway, after the break, it's over to Will. Will, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I'll be drinking in Angela Rayner's Cristal grade champagne socialism, Alex.
Yeah, and Will's going to do it on a dinghy with a vape. We'll see you live after the break.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Yes, welcome back, everybody, where you've been getting in touch with us about that last topic on mass deportations there. So I'm going to read some of your comments out. First of all, Paul says, Alex, you're wanted in HR's office. Yeah, sorry, I almost swore. I do apologise if anyone misinterpreted what I was trying to say. Susan says, without mass deportations, our country is well on the way to becoming unrecognisable. I'm going to be talking about that at 9 o'clock tonight, so stay tuned for that. Jay says, could you ask Will what he thinks Ben Habib's party, or Rupert Lowe's party, air quotes, I'm not really sure what it is, he says, is actually going to achieve? Because honestly, the electorate doesn't exist solely on X. No disrespect to Ben or Rupert. I actually like them both, but I'm not sure most people in Britain would even recognise their names. Will?
I think Rupert's rhetoric and how he's pushed this issue has been really important in shifting that Overton window. So I think what they will do is they will put pressure on the reforms of this world and the Conservatives of this world to take things that people were saying used to be racist to suddenly being endorsed by the mainstream. And they've been very successful in that so far.
OK, and Neil says, if Kai were around 50,000 years ago, we'd still be living in caves. As Alexander the Great says, fortune favours the bold. Indeed. Yeah. And the bold don't live in caves, do they? All right, then, let's get cracking on with our next debate. Who's up next?
I am. I was thinking about bold people who've lived in caves. We'll put that to one side. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever I'm walking around London, I'm always amused by the amount of communists with blue plaques who lived in posh houses. You had Engels in Primrose Hill, you had Marx in Soho, you had Lenin in Bloomsbury. Obviously, the Champagne Socialist is nothing new, but there is something uniquely irritating about Angela Rayner's tax evasion, or maybe to keep the lawyers happy, tax minimisation over the last week. Whilst I've got no problem with tax minimisation, in fact, I'm all for people minimising their tax because I don't think the government is spending it well enough that we should be donating extra. It is another thing for a politician who has made it her mission to say that tax evasion needs to be cracked down upon in this country. It reflects the vacuous nothingness at the heart of this government. This is a government that says one thing and does another on a continuous basis because it has no conviction, it has no ideology, it has no central mission. We need to call out hypocrisy like this for the political evil that it is, because if we don't, we're going to continue to be led by nothing moral and intellectual cowards. And I think this is yet another demonstration of moral cowardice from this government.
Kai?
No, it's not. I think people hate Angela Rayner so much, don't they? Because they're snobs, because they don't like that somebody with her accent, with some of her views, some of the brilliant pictures of her smoking and vaping in a dinghy, they just don't like it, do they? They don't like that she's in control of some of this nation's most important policies, house building, you know, being Deputy Prime Minister. I think it's a great thing. I mean, on this, I mean, the details, you know, she's been supportive of policies that actually would cost her in the long run. That's not hypocrisy at all.
What she has done is legal. There were maybe some ramifications around electoral law that she needs to answer to. But no, that's not the reason, Kai.
I think it is.
The reason is hypocrisy. People hate hypocrisy because it points to insincerity.
Indeed.
People hate insincere politics.
Before you have a rebuttal, let's ask you some questions here, Kai, and I wonder who you can guess who these questions might have come from. Revelations on tax dodging from the wealthy. Ordinary people who get taxed at source are furious. These tax dodgers advocate austerity too. Thumbs down. Tory Minister Gaff put our citizen at risk. I don't know those citizens, I think she meant to say. Tory Minister wanting to give our aid to an overseas army and the rich tax dodging on a grand scale. Thumbs down. Jeremy Corbyn correct. Hang on, I haven't finished. Jeremy Corbyn correct to raise tax dodging issue. The public are furious with those who get away with tax avoidance while they pay #PMQs. as your Deputy Prime Minister. Do you disagree with everything she said there?
Yeah, and she's advocated for a long time for a clampdown on second homeowners.
By her own standards,
and so by her own standards, she's made herself poorer over the long time.
She's calling herself a tax dodger. The public would be furious with those who get away with it. She says that ordinary people are up in arms, and she says thumbs down these people advocate for austerity.
I doubt that we actually all know the ins and outs of what's happened. I mean, she stops owning a stake
in hypocrisy. Everybody wants working class people in this country to do exceptionally well, and I'm proud of every working class person that can be able to afford 3 homes or 2 pads, whatever it is. However, she's a hypocrite, and that's what Will is saying. These tweets that she put out between the 17th of November and the 1st of November 2017, sorry, she is a hypocrite.
It's a mountain out of a molehill, and you well know it.
I think the fact that you're scraping around in the bottom of the barrel for your argument to say, oh, she's done something that because of her own laws eventually will make her poorer, just go to show that she's done something to ensure that she isn't poorer. This is a woman whose net worth is alleged to be 4.7 million. Good for her. Working class girl. I'm a working class girl. I've done well too. But if I did this and saved myself 40 grand and someone found out from it from HMRC, they would be after me like a rat up a drain pipe.
I think it's two-tier again, and you can call it two-tier, double standards. It's two-tier, double standards. Normal working class people who are doing self-employed jobs in the building trade, who are struggling to get by week in, week out, see that from a Labour government that is supposed to be, that literally claims they are representative of the working class. No working class person is walking around in society owning 3 homes and then getting a 40 grand tax.
Same as when David Lammy the other week, by the way, got off from the Environment Agency, who said they will always prosecute, and guess what? They don't prosecute the Foreign Secretary, do they? Two-tier rules, isn't it?
Two-tier
double standards.
Come on, he was hosting the Vice President of the United States.
Do you remember Starmer standing on Downing Street steps saying, the sleaze is over, I am going to lead our party in the service of the people. They're not working in the service of the people. She's working in the service of her pocket and her bank balance.
And this is the point, Renee. This is not a mountain out of a molehill because it speaks to a bigger issue, and the bigger issue is that this government doesn't have any conviction to speak of. And this is just another example of that.
And I think the optics of it as well, Kai, you must agree. If you're changing the name of your property to declare it's now your second, you're switching that around to enact that dodge, which is what it is. Let's not beat around the bush. It's a tax dodge.
No, whether
it's legal or not, it's a way of recouping.
Kai, there are 7 days in a week, OK? She's in Parliament for 4 of them, so more than half, living in her Grace and Favour apartment in Admiralty House.
As Deputy Prime Minister.
Absolutely. No problem with that at all. The house in Hove is not her first residence.
Yeah.
Okay. Very briefly.
This also points out that it's not the super wealthy that will be hurt by the wealth taxes and all of the sort of stuff that Labor is going on for, because they can do this sort of shifty stuff. It is the people who don't have these sorts of accountants who will be hurt hardest by Labor's wealth taxes and all that sort of policy.
All right. Well, a spokesman for Ms Rayner has said this: the Deputy Prime Minister paid the correct duty owed on the purchase, entirely, properly, and in line with the relevant requirements. Any suggestion otherwise is entirely without basis. No one's suggesting that from our panel. I just want to urge that. No one here is suggesting she did anything illegal. I think we're just saying that it's complete hypocrisy, isn't it? Well, after the break, the man you've all been waiting for, Kai, what have you got for us?
I'm going to be defending Angela Rayner more. No, joking. I'm going to be saying that digital ID is really not the big deal everybody makes it out to be.
Yeah, can't wait. Get your digital IDs ready, because otherwise you can't watch the show. You'll be to Saturday 5 Live on GB News.
Looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Storm Augustin is easing across northern parts of Europe, bringing mostly settled conditions, though we can't rule out some showers at times. For example, across northwest Portugal, northern parts of Spain and western parts of France, we just have some outbreaks of rain pushing through here. But otherwise, as we move our way eastwards across the Mediterranean, mostly high pressure dominating, so plenty of sunshine to go around. Though as we head into next week, there's a chance we could just start to see some thundery showers push into parts of Italy, but temperatures mostly remaining in the mid to high 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Low pressure in charge of our weather at the moment. It's bringing a band of rain eastwards, but it should soon clear, and then blustery showers will follow overnight. And it's another windy day across the whole of the UK through Sunday. We can see low pressure just anchored to the northwest of the UK at the moment, driving weather systems eastwards. That rain will soon clear eastern parts of England, northeast Scotland as we head into the early hours. And then overnight we'll see a mixture of clear spells and showers. Showers most frequent across western areas. Some of them could be heavy at times. The odd rumble of thunder is possible, and it stays quite blustery here. Temperatures for everyone with that wind around and showers staying in double figures around 12 to 14 Celsius. So a bright start on Sunday morning, a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers. The overnight rain just about clearing Shetland first thing, and then a bright start across much of Scotland. Some showers in the west from the word go. Breezy though, particularly in the west, gusts of 40 miles an hour or so. Mixture of sunny spells and showers for Northern Ireland into northern England. Wales and southern parts of England also seeing a scattering of showers, whilst the Midlands, East Anglia, southeast England should initially be largely dry, but we'll see some showers developing here through the day. And a windy day for everyone. The wind's coming in from the southwest. Gales around western coast, perhaps 50-60 mile an hour gusts for eastern parts of Northern Ireland into western Scotland. Some persistent rain developing here later on in the afternoon. Widespread showers for many. Where you miss them, in the sunshine, temperatures reaching 22 or 23 Celsius, but feeling rather cool with that blustery wind. For Monday, low pressure still in charge. Frequent showers across northern and western parts. Some heavy showers in there, some thunderstorms. Those pushing eastwards as the day goes on. And another blustery day for much of the country, and it stays unsettled for the week ahead. Further showers, there'll be some sunshine in between, temperatures around average. See you again soon.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I can't shut this lot up in the break. You just want 30 seconds of peace and quiet, and they just don't stop, guys, because that is the Saturday 5 for you. Please get in touch. Yeah, I will. Well, actually, I just locked myself in the bathroom for 3 hours. gbnews.com/yoursay. Get your questions in for Ask the Five. Thank you for your messages so far. Let's read a couple of them out, because we always love to read them out. Abigail says, I just hope reforms stop the French entering our waters, especially for our fish. Yeah, totally right. That's on this mass
We should have leveraged our fishing licences much more in this debate.
Totally agree. Well, Keir Starmer gave it up before we even had the deal, didn't he? Gave it all up. Eddie says, hi, Alex, it just feels like the government are sticking their middle fingers up at the British people and the public right now. Yes, totally agree with you. Totally agree. Chris Cork, you might be the same Chris Cork. He was on the show last week. So this is you from last week, Chris. Thank you for writing into us. So you said, we're about to talk about this in a second. Digital ID, cashless society equals full power and control. No, thank you. Well, without further ado, it's Kai to come here and defend it. Kai, what have you got for us?
Yes, digital ID. That's thanks, Dr. Renee. And I'm saying that digital ID is really not a big deal, and I find myself quite surprised choosing this topic tonight because, a bit like Crocs or cricket, I can't really get that excited about digital ID because, to me, this sounds like complete common sense to the point that it's fairly mundane. But like most things that should be inevitable, like the climate change revolution, ideologue zealots in the UK are trying to make digital ID to be this bastion of the World Economic Forum, of Tony Blair, when actually we should have caught up really a long time ago. Part of the reason why Britain is so broken is that we operate on piles and piles and piles of paper for absolutely everything. But this would give us one universal way to prove who we are, to engage with the state. Privacy by design, security by design. It would cut fraud, speed up services and reduce bureaucracy. And Estonia, Denmark and Singapore aren't that bad a bunch of countries to take our lead from, are they?
Singapore.
Now, this is not about Big Brother. It's common sense. A digital passport in your pocket. It makes sense to me. So no to British decline, yes to digital ID.
OK, the fact that you want to put the decline of this country on the fact that there's a bit of paper washing around is laughable.
I'm not saying it's all about
down
that.
to your Chancellor and nothing else. But apart from that, the problem with digital ID, and I read this article by Pat McFadden today, who's Tony Blair's mouthpiece, because Tony Blair wants this because he's going to make zillions from it, by the way. It's the only thing he talks about. There is only one line in this whole article which, for me, is absolutely critical, and that is that it's going to be so easy to do all of the things that you've just said. You can even collect your supermarket loyalty points on it. That is the scariest line in that whole article. You know why? Because eventually, Kai, when we have this whole thing where you can't do anything in society without your digital ID, not only will you be able to collect your supermarket points on it, which sounds all lovely, when you've eaten too much beef because you've overstepped your carbon footprint, it won't let you buy it at the tills. When you go to fill up your car, it won't let you put petrol in. And when you haven't been a nice person online, it won't let you get on an airplane. This is the start of a social credit system. It's wrong, and everybody should say no, and I will say no. We have a passport. They know who I am. That's enough.
And credit to the Blairites and to the type of Blairite rhetoric that Kai put out there, because they're very good at minimising the threat. It's all about convenience. It's all about saving paper, which is a new one, but, you know, we'll add that to the list. We need to actually rebrand this on the right from being digital IDs, which sounds like, oh, OK, it's just a digital version of the cards in my wallet.
Digital control.
To behavioural control cards. Because that is what it is about. It is about manipulating behaviours. And if you don't think that this government wants to manipulate behaviours after what we've seen from non-crime hate incidents and all of the different ways that online speech is now monitored, you are dead wrong.
I think if you... So, leading into what Will said there, it's very easy to look at all these policies singular. Central bank digital currency will make money easier. Identification will make coming in and monitoring criminals easier. Digital ID associated with medical records will make things easier for GPs. Problem is, underpin that with the Data Use and Access Bill, underpin it with the Online Safety Act, lump it all into one government control system, which is what they're doing, and the framework is there for that to happen. You then have a very different narrative. You then have a very different narrative. And I'm sitting here now, do we trust this government to manage that system correctly?
Of course we do.
And to be fair, I wouldn't have trusted the previous government. Or the government before that, or before that, I wouldn't trust any government.
It's too much control and power.
No, look, I get all of this, right? I'm not minimising those concerns, but I honestly don't come at digital ID from a perspective assuming the worst case scenario. And I think that is what you're doing. You're telling people that the logical and the only end point of this is entire population control. But in fact, I really think it is just about getting us catching up with the vast majority of developed Western countries.
No, it's not.
Making things easier.
It's not,
and Dr. Ridder, you know in the health service, operating on different bits of paper in your dentist, in your GP, and various specialists, it's a mess.
Well, the reality is, Kai, is that a lot of countries and a lot of the sort of World Economic Forum globalist plan is to create problems and then present you the... Well, it's true, isn't it? That why is all the West going through exactly the same problems at exactly the same time, despite there being vastly different countries all over the world? Because we've all got the same policies on everything now, which to me sounds like a joined-up attack on people's society. So the reality is that they create a problem, then they say to you, well, to solve this problem, here's the solution. It's the same thing, in my opinion, that happened with COVID. That's why I had these COVID passports, which were an egregious attack on your freedom of expression, your freedom of travel and your freedom of movement.
Alex, you can't have it both ways, and this is what I found really funny about the line of attack. You can't have the leaders of the world both incompetent but also able to coordinate a massive secret plan to control the world population. You can't have it both ways.
Okay.
That's
that's a whole different debate anyway, because we've got to move on to our next topic. Bruce is back for round two. Bruce, what have you got for us today?
So mine is on the recent reaction to the St George's flags raised across Essex and other councils, which highlights the deepening divide on symbols of national identity. Essex County Council's stance of offering support to employees unsettled by these these flags due to the perceived association with anti-immigration rhetoric has stirred controversy. Some view the flag as a symbol of national pride and unity, while others associate it with divisive right-wing ideologies. And these responses reflect a growing tension in how symbols like the St George's Cross are interpreted in the modern UK. So I asked the panel, what do you think? Are these flags a symbol of national pride or a tool for division?
Well, I think we should start with our woke lefty on the panel, who might actually need some support. Are you getting any support at the moment for seeing all these St George's crosses up and down the country, Kai? Because I'm actually surprised you made it to the show today, because I thought you might be too worried to leave the house.
Were worried when I turned up 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
It was just all those St George's flags.
One of those flags that were going to injure people. I thought it might have got you.
Yeah. Well, luckily not. No. I mean, as you know, I'm very proud of a British flag, in particular the Welsh flag. Like, obviously, this Essex County Council email that went out saying that staff might find the flag difficult is ridiculous. But I do understand, I think it's ridiculous that people are so sensitive.
Yeah.
But I do understand that there are some associations that the St George's flag has had in the past with football hooliganism, and hopefully that starts to change. And if there are still people out there who have been subject to attacks in that way, they might find the English flag quite difficult. But I agree that the British government needs to come out and show that it is on the side of patriots and is on the side of being proud to be British and English, because otherwise it makes it look like they're agreeing that it's just football hooliganism and racism, because it's not.
But that's the thing. In a counter, the funny thing is a lot of the rhetoric I have heard is it's actually OK when it's a football event, when it's the World Cup, when it's the EU, when it's a footballing event or the Olympics. It's fine to display the flag. It's not shunned upon then. Yet the alternative seems to be, well, actually, no, just national flags are a problem and an issue unless it's attached to the flag.
No.
That's odd.
So they don't say that national flags are an issue, because you can put a Ukrainian flag up or a Palestine flag up and that's absolutely fine. It's only our national flag that's the problem. And this constant, we fly at football pitches, football games, that's a dog whistle to say, look, we're actually quite nice and it's fine for you to fly the flag. No, we don't want to fly it there. We want to fly it all the time. I'm astounded by Essex, because I know the kind of people that have moved to Essex from the East End of London, and they are patriots. So who the hell is working in this wokey council sending out these emails? I don't know. But as you'll see later from my high five, we need to reclaim that flag in every situation in this country and fly it high and fly it proudly.
Will, we've just seen there's a similar movement starting up in Australia. I saw the other day. It was brilliant to see.
It's
Yellow
funny,
and
we're on the
green.
same wavelength. I was about to go there myself. Australia's had the same conversation, and it has the same origin in that you have people on the right who are proud of their country, proud of its values, in much the same way that people on the right in the UK are. And then you come up against the left, who fundamentally despise the countries, despise their values, despise their historical narratives.
Unless there's a football match on.
Yeah. And therefore they basically put the flag as being far right. This is a representation of the modern left, which is loathing of country and loathing of its values.
Yeah, totally agree, Kai, because we do see this from the left. And we've seen Keir Starmer's party try to reclaim the Union flag, but it doesn't seem to go down well with some of your activists who at the time during the election were saying that the party's going too right-wing by just having the flag in it at the time.
Oh, but you know as well as I do that...
What, Labour's full of wets?
There are fruitcakes in every political party, and I reject that notion that the left is entirely unpatriotic, but I agree that there are factions within the left who are a bit miserable about being English or being British, and they need to get over it.
Briefly, can I just ask you, why is it OK for Welsh people to fly the flag? Why is it OK for Scottish people to fly it? Because they've been doing this for a long time. It's only when the St George's Cross comes out people get upset. Why is that?
It's because it's
I think it is around hooliganism associations, and because the Union Jack is there as well, the English flag became for a while associated with a particular portion of patriots in Britain. I don't know whether that's fair or not, but I think that's where it's come from. The English flag and the Union Jack are used for different... Well, why else is it, Will?
Because England are historically and uniquely evil, and as a result of that, they must atone for their sins in the way the Scottish and the Welsh don't.
Clip that up.
Okie dokie, let's leave that one there. Thank you, panel. That was a very, very feisty debate. We've got a writer reply from Essex County Council here. They have said this: an email offering offering reassurance, and the opportunity to seek support was sent on behalf of Essex County Council's Children and Families Leadership Team to their employees. Essex County Council has made employees working with children and families in areas such as Epping, where there have been and continue to be high-profile protests, as well as support for the current flag flying campaign. We support people's right to fly the flag, and we proudly fly the St George's Cross outside County Hall, our headquarters in Chelmsford. Well, there you have it. And after the break, Renee, what have you got for us?
Well, the government have chosen migrants over the safety of women and children.
Oh, well, we're going to be digging into that one. We will see you live here on the Saturday 5 just after the break.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's News Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, gbnews.com/you'll say. That's where you can get in touch and we'll read some of your comments out. I'm going to do that right now, actually. TLP says, you're not fooling anyone, Kai. We all know it's got nothing to do with football hooliganism. It's because you think we're racist and we all know it.
I don't.
Too right. Kai, we already have digital ID with passports, driving licenses, etc. We do not need or want digital ID. It's one more step towards total control over our lives. Country versus digital ID is a slippery slope to 1984. And Kelly says, great to see you, Bruce. You're doing a great job. Great mate from Kelly from Suffolk.
Can I very quickly say, digital ID is the thing that connects those things together.
Yep.
That's what makes it really dangerous.
Exceptionally dangerous. All right, now it's time for our next debate. Who is going now? I think it's you, Renee, right?
Me. Yes. So last week I warned that we were going to see a pivotal decision and decide whether or not the government were on the side of women and children and the UK taxpayer or not. Sadly, maybe predictably, they proved that they are actually on the side of migrants. In fact, the Home Office went as far as to say that the needs of migrants trumps those of local residents, so trumps those of women and children and their safety. Women and children being scared about this is not just rhetoric. One journalist alone has uncovered 708 charges of people living in just a third of the total migrant hotels. Rape, sexual assault, theft, arson, violence. So this is not rhetoric. Let's talk about the charge that's been levied against the migrant for sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl, the Sudanese man who has been convicted of strangling and raping a woman in a toilet in Wakefield, or the migrant in Oxford who was convicted of raping a 20-year-old in a churchyard. These are real migrants committing real crimes against real women and children. So I say this to our government: we see you, we will not be silenced. There is no fury like a woman scorned.
Oh, indeed. Well, let's pass it straight to Kai, shall we?
As I'm about to find out, I'm sure. Dr. Renee, there's no doubt that this is a massive crisis of multiple governments' own making. But I think there is a section in society and a section in the media in particular who are willing on state collapse.
Straw man.
No, it's not a straw man, Will, because what happens when you try to rush an action like getting rid of migrants out of this country, or sort of trying to get them across the country into different types of accommodation? If you rush that, it is no joke. RAF bases that are being used right now to house migrants are contaminated, have unexploded ordnance. Then you're looking at, OK, well, can we use unused school buildings and so on? Those are going to be much less safe than some of the hotels
care.
But yes, you will care.
No.
You will care, Dr. Renee, when those unsafe options... Can I just finish?
I care about women and children being sexually
assaulted. So do I, and that is exactly what will happen more if you look at having these migrants in much more unsafe areas all across the country where we can't control them and where we can't track them.
Does it make men rape more?
No, because it's less secure. It's less secure. And what you have when you have state...
Why does it have to be less secure?
Because if you rush something like this, and if you have state collapse, if you have thousands of migrants that we can't account for, who aren't in discrete areas, in hotels, in urban centres, then you don't know the chaos it will unleash.
Set up a very efficient government control system for COVID incredibly quickly, I think.
No, they did not.
I can pitch a tent outside in 5 to 10 minutes.
I love this. So you'd have migrants in tents, and you think that's safe for women and girls?
We built...
If they are detained, yes.
The Nightingale hospitals, 7 of them at a cost of 380 million. And how many people did it? How many people? How many people? How many people?
Why is that relevant?
400 people.
Why is that relevant to this problem, that we didn't treat enough people for COVID in there? Why is it
Because we are just grasping for other options, other places to put people. None of it will work. What we have right now, like it or not, it works to the best of its ability.
Okay, Renee, let me ask you, what would your solution be, ideally?
OK, I would build locked detention centres. They would come here. If they come, I'd stop them coming. That would be number one. If they arrive into a locked detention centre, they're not roaming around. They're not sexually assaulting our teenagers. We're not having women on the streets in Essex having to put women helping children go to school safely.
And pick up the phone to Australia and call them and get the plans that they use, because it's already been done and it's already been proven to be effective.
Yeah, Bruce, what do you make of this? I mean, obviously, we had the pink protest, the women coming out protesting, quite a big force. People have never protested.
It's national now, isn't it? It's national. This isn't just isolated incidents. We're seeing reports, and I think it's 400 this year of cases involving these hotels of men either being convicted or accused of these crimes, floating around parks, floating around areas. There is apparently security at these hotels. What is that security doing? Nothing. Why are they being allowed to even leave them in the first place? If they're undocumented, if they're considered to be undocumented, we don't know who they are. We know these cases are going on. That is the issue. People feel unsafe. And we go back to the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, and it states, guided by the purposes and principles of the Charter of the United Nations and good faith in the fulfilment of the obligations assumed by states in accordance with the Charter, that Indigenous peoples are equal to other peoples.
Very brief response from you, Kai.
Asylum seekers do also have rights. Not all of these people are asylum seekers, but we shouldn't treat all of these migrants by their lowest common denominator. We shouldn't treat them all like foreign criminals. I honestly don't think that's
all
what
right. Well, we've got to a little right of reply here. This is what the Border Security and Asylum Minister Dame Angela Eagle said after yesterday's appeal court ruling.
Well, nobody wants to close the Bell Hotel and all other asylum hotels more than me, and we have pledged that we are going to do that by the end of the Parliament. Today's judgment allows us to do it in a planned and managed way.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? I mean, the government obviously have pledged to end the hotel crisis. And we're going to, hopefully, we might be debating this at 7 o'clock. So gbnews.com/poll, because we're going to be asking you, is it worse to have migrants in hotels or in HMOs? Because it seems to me, whatever happens here, the only place the government are willing to put migrants after the hotels close are houses of multiple occupancy. And I think my opinion, which we'll get to shortly anyway, is that that's going to be an absolute disaster for this country. Very briefly from you, Will. What would you say to that, very briefly?
I won't answer because we may hear it at the break, but the one thing we haven't touched on is the legal element here, and that is the optics of this demonstrated this isn't just the government, this is the government being enabled by an activist judiciary, and you put those two things together, and that is why people have lost so much trust in the leaders and the institutions that are meant to act in the best interest of this country.
Yeah, and Susan here says, "Oh, Kai, haven't you heard? Rayna and Starmer both say there are plenty of houses available." Well, it's funny that. Why do we have so many homeless veterans? Why do we have so many people waiting over a decade for a social home?
Why do we have so many children sleeping on sofas?
Yes, quite right. This is
I think that's 4.1 million children, I think, is one of the latest stats that we have. Children in poverty in this country. And I think a lot of people are asking the question, take aside, I know a lot of people get misconstrued about benefits and stuff like that. And Ryland came out recently and said, made the accusation about mobile phones and stuff. I think that was done simply off the fact that we see these hotels walking around with mobile phones. These are supposed to be people that are scraping by in society. We had a case, there's a case this week that was published in the Telegraph of a man who had robbed a £1,000 Liberty coat because he said he was living on £9 a week. You are living in a hotel, clothed, heated, water, fed, 3 meals a day, and you're given. We know they are given £49.50 per week. That's the figure published by the government.
In the black market.
And look, discounts from local councils on a range of different activities.
I think this is the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, the British people feel fed up. They feel hard done by. They are looking at their taxes going up again this autumn because we've completely blown the budget because Labour don't know how to manage an economy. That they're looking at billions more pounds going to people who have really taken the mickey by coming to this country in the first place when they could have avoided it and stayed in France or stayed in the next safe country they went to. But anyway, we have to move on because there's loads more coming up on the show tonight, including some shock news about the biggest cause of the migration crisis. Let's see what else you guys have been saying very briefly here. Well said, Doctor. The government knew the risk they were putting us in and expected it. Perhaps they were for sale also. Interesting stuff. We don't want, JMC says, we don't want migrants who sexually assault women and girls in this country. Full stop. The best solution, Kai, is to not allow them to enter the UK in the first place.
Yeah, but given they're here.
Well, Joe Average says, when the economy collapses, no doubt Starmer will blame the far right. Oh, of course he will. Of course he will. He always loves to blame the far right. And listen, stand by for an Australian politician threatening to punch a journalist in the mouth in triggered tantrums. And I've got a very special triggered tantrum for you this week. Don't go anywhere. It's all going to kick off at 7 o'clock.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Low pressure in charge of our weather at the moment. It's bringing a band of rain eastwards, but it should soon clear and then blustery showers will follow overnight. And it's another windy day across the whole of the UK through Sunday. We can see low pressure just anchored to the northwest of the UK at the moment, driving weather systems eastwards. That rain will soon clear eastern parts of England, northeast Scotland as we head into the early hours. And then overnight we'll see a mixture of clear spells and showers. Showers most frequent across western areas. Some of them could be heavy at times. The odd rumble of thunder is possible. And it stays quite blustery here. Temperatures for everyone with that wind around and showers staying in double figures around 12 to 14 Celsius. So a bright start on Sunday morning, a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers. The overnight rain just about clearing Shetland first thing, and then a bright start across much of Scotland. Some showers in the west from the word go. Breezy though, particularly in the west, gusts of 40 miles an hour or so. Mixture of sunny spells and showers for Northern Ireland into northern England. Wales and southern parts of England also seeing a scattering of showers, whilst the Midlands, East Anglia, South East England should initially be largely dry, but we'll see some showers developing here through the day. And a windy day for everyone. The wind's coming in from the southwest. Gales around western coast, perhaps 50-60 mile an hour gusts for eastern parts of Northern Ireland into western Scotland. Some persistent rain developing here later on in the afternoon. Widespread showers for many. Where you miss them, in the sunshine, temperatures reaching 22 or 23 Celsius, but feeling rather cool with that blustery wind. For Monday, low pressure still in charge. Frequent showers across northern and western parts. Some heavy showers in there, some thunderstorms. Those pushing eastwards as the day goes on. And another blustery day for much of the country. And it stays unsettled for the week ahead. Further showers. There'll be some sunshine in between. Temperatures around average. See you again soon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Alex Armstrong, along with Dr. Renee, Will Kingston, Bruce Hamill, and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show, what's up?
Mate, don't say that, because that irritates me, and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that.
A tribute to Australian politics. We'll work out what that is in a second.
We'll be scrapping it out. Are hotels better than HMOs?
Well, that's going to be a good one. And have our universities turned into migration machines?
And another new poll, another new record for Reform UK. Are they becoming the official opposition?
And of course, do remember to get your questions in for Ask the Five.
Yes, it's 7 o'clock, and this is the Saturday Five. Yes, going to be a very busy show for you tonight. Loads more to come. And we'll be discussing how we have let student visas be abused to the point where a shocking number of internationals are remaining in the UK by the back door. Plus, playing with stuffed animals, dressing up in costumes. Oh, Kai, this was one for you. And watching Disney films, a typical weekend for Kai Wilshaw, perhaps. Find out which of these hobbies Brits have deemed just for kids in a new survey. And yes, make sure you stick around for the Saturday 5 Extra with Dr. Renee will be taking over that one to find out what that's all about. And we've got a fresh batch of triggered tantrums. You guys love this part of the show. You really love it. And we'll
this part of the show.
Yeah, it's a good part of the show, isn't it? It's really fun. Lots of meltdowns, basically. And we'll reveal what we're going to be debating in the Saturday Scrap. And of course, get your views in gbnews.com/your say, because we love reading your comments out. And of course, we want to hear your opinions on all the big topics of the night. But before we get started, it's your Saturday Night News with Bethany Elsey.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Bethany Elsey with your top stories from the GB Newsroom. The Archbishop of York is accusing Nigel Farage of an isolationist and short-term knee-jerk response to the small boat crisis. Stephen Cottrell says the Reform UK leader, who has promised mass deportations, is not offering a solution to the big issues driving people to risk crossing the English Channel. Farage has set out plans to remove 600,000 people from the country if he becomes the next Prime Minister. 5 people have been arrested during protests outside a hotel housing migrants in West London. Police say the group were wearing masks, attempted to enter the Crowne Plaza Hotel and damaged the security hoarding. Hundreds of protesters and counter-protesters have gathered outside hotels across the country, and further action is expected tomorrow. It's after the Court of Appeal overturned an injunction which would have blocked asylum seekers from being housed at the Bell Hotel in Epping. Following that verdict, several councils are considering legal action to try and stop the practice. Criticism over the Deputy Prime Minister's tax affairs are now coming from within her own party. Graham Stringer is the first from the Labour Party to publicly condemn Angela Rayner over whether she paid the correct tax on her various homes, saying the optics don't look good. It's after reports Miss Rayner, who is also the Housing Secretary, avoided paying £40,000 in stamp duty when buying her new flat in East Sussex by telling tax authorities it was her main home. Although entirely legal, the Conservatives are calling for an investigation. The Prime Minister of Yemen's Houthi government and several other ministers have been killed in an Israeli airstrike. A number of others were injured when the capital Sana'a was hit. Israel claims the airstrike was targeting the Iran-aligned group's chief of staff, defence minister and other senior officials. And it's not all paradise for Coldplay fans expecting to see them perform at Wembley next weekend. The band have apologised to the 82,000 ticket holders as they've been forced to reschedule the final 2 dates of their 10-show run due to tube strikes. Members of the RMT union are walking out for a week from Friday, making it impossible for the gigs to go ahead on the 7th and 8th of September as planned. Instead, they'll take place on the 6th and 12th. You're up to date. I'll have more for you in half an hour.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Yes, it's Saturday night and you're with the Saturday Five. I'm, of course, Alex Armstrong, and I can promise, as ever, you're in for a very lively hour. I'll just read a quick comment now from Jay. I love your comments coming in. He says, I disagree with Kai on pretty much everything. I think I do too, actually. But at least he's got a personality and can have a laugh at himself. Yeah. Well, he's definitely laughing at himself more than ever. That's for sure. But
just like all of you, I'm laughing at Kai Wilshaw.
Yes, absolutely. No, we do listen, I think there's always this misconception we all hate each other. We all get along exceptionally well. So, you know, politics is one thing, but you know, Kai's a great laugh for sure, sometimes. Now
it's quite a compliment to Kai that we actually, you know, let him and want him to come every week, because lefties are so hard to find. We don't take themselves just too seriously.
That's very
true.
You're more than a regulatory requirement to us, mate.
I think so. Anyway, now you've been voting for what you want us to scrap over, and I can now reveal which topic has been crowned the winner. Well, 29% of you voted for should we bring back national service. 18% of you voted for should people on benefits be allowed to go on holiday. And of course, 53% of you voted for this. What's worse, migrant hotels or HMOs? And there you have it. So let's crack on with tonight's main event. Yes, it's the Saturday Scrap, and seconds out, it's round one. And as we have been following on the channel, yesterday, judges ruled that asylum seekers can stay at a hotel in Epping, Essex, after the government won a court appeal. Border Minister Dame Angela Eagle also doubled down on the government's pledge to close down all asylum hotels by 2029, saying it is speeding up the system to ensure the appeals process happens more quickly. However, the government has admitted that it's preparing to massively increase the procurement of dispersed accommodation, such as empty homes or former student blocks that have self-catering facilities. Councils have also been asked to agree to asylum accommodation plans between local authorities and central government, which would set targets to increase dispersed, what they call this thing, dispersed accommodation. I'd never heard that word before, but there we go. Basically accommodation then is empty. So what's worse, migrant hotels or HMOs? Will, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, thank you, Alex. And in some respects, this is like asking me whether I would rather be stuck on a desert island with Jeremy Corbyn or receive a colonoscopy from Edward Scissorhands. It's a pretty difficult one. But if I'm forced to choose, I am going to pick the hotels over the HMOs. Keep in mind, the obvious option is detain and deport, as Alex so eloquently said in the first hour. But there are a few benefits to hotels over HMOs. The first is that at the very least, families, women, children know where these people are, and they are in one location. If they are dispersed, and the words were already there, Labor is telling you, dispersed across the country, they will be scattered in a way where you do not know whether you are living next door to someone who is from a community that has dramatically different cultural values to your own, and who is statistically much more likely than someone from this country to commit sexual offences or other types of crimes. And those are facts that we now have at our fingertips. The second thing I would say is that this normalises free accommodation for people who come into this country. At least if you live in a hotel, there's a transient nature to it. If you are living there, you would go, well, the good times can't last forever. That's how I would be thinking about it, although who knows with these illegal migrants. If you're living in a house, you go, well, look, I'm here now, this is looking like the good times are going to roll forever. And you know what? I wouldn't trust this government to get them out of those houses anytime soon. So that's probably going to be something that would just stay in perpetuity. But perhaps the obvious and most saddest point, there is a housing crisis in this country, ladies and gentlemen. There are people from this country, British citizens, who are sleeping on the streets as people would otherwise be getting moved into houses. And what this does, apart from keeping those British citizens on the streets, is it further erodes trust in our government, and it further sends the message that this is ultimately a government that cares more about illegal migrants than it does about its own citizens.
Well, thank you, Will. I do note with interest that we don't have your answer to Corbyn on the desert island versus colonoscopy.
I'll take the colonoscopy.
But look, it is a difficult choice, this one, between a rock and a hard place. But, you know, HMOs have been used for many, many years, and actually they've received lots of new focus in the last couple of weeks, because after a summer where we've seen lots of anti-immigrant protests, HMOs are under the spotlight as a potential support valve instead of hotels. Now, having said that hotels are obviously the more secure option, there are, of course, different tiers of migrants and asylum seekers in this country. And so, yes, with restrictions and with certain categories of migrant, I do think that HMOs would solve an important problem in this country. And that is a problem of integration and of welcome. I think what we've seen in the last few years and months is an intense new rhetoric that paints an us and them picture. And I know that despite the huge and obvious issues that have been highlighted with the migrant hotels and the horrible crimes committed, the vast majority of people in those hotels are law-abiding. And if we saw a bit more of them, and if we saw that human side of them, I think British people would understand a bit better what their stories were. And so perhaps in some cases, and not everyone, HMOs could be the answer. And also, just one final thing. We keep talking about how the left, and especially, this government might be out of touch and that they don't have to have migrants living next door to them. Well, actually, perhaps dispersing migrants throughout this country in rented accommodation and so on might actually tackle that problem as well.
I can see Alex in the corner of my eye wanting me to open this up, but I want to point out one falsehood before we do, and that is that none of the people in these hotels are law-abiding people, Kai. They have entered the country illegally. That makes them criminals. They could have chosen to stay in France and seek refuge there. They did not choose to do so. That turned them from being refugees into being illegal migrants.
So
they
what
are
about
criminals.
people awaiting their asylum claims being processed? Are they illegal migrants?
Every single one who lands here claims asylum, Kai. Every single one.
But that doesn't mean that all of them are illegal migrants. Well, that's just not true.
Yeah, they are illegal migrants. They've entered the country illegally. They may not have been illegal migrants when they went from a potentially dangerous country.
You two have spoken more than enough. Bruce, what do you make of it?
It's an unstoppable force and an immovable object, isn't it? It's the weighing up of two bad things.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is this. I think with the HMOs, I think what we've seen with Labour's or the Treasury's recent announcement that they're going to tax landlords $2 billion. I think what we're seeing here is a shift of privately rented accommodation ending up in government hands, Serco's hands. That's for me the aim. The aim is to push landlords out of their property. Serco and various different organisations will swallow these up to accommodate this transition from hotels to HMOs. I personally agree with Will. I think HMOs dispersing people over the country is bad. The hotels are bad. The whole thing is bad and stinks. We have no real way of stopping these people coming in. People are always talking about why are we putting them in hotels? Why are we putting them in housing when they come from France from migrant tent camps? So why is that okay in France and not okay here?
Okay,
now, I'm not agreeing with tents. I don't think we should be doing tents. I think we should go back to what we said earlier with more secure facilities, better facilities. But I think ultimately it all still falls down on the
Liberal lefties are very happy in tents at Glastonbury. I don't see why refugees come from.
But you can't just...
You've contradicted yourself, Kai, because when you were arguing against me earlier when I was talking about this, you said that hotels were the most secure place for them to be, but now apparently it's not. It's dispersed into the community. The only way that hotels are secure is if they can't leave.
Yes.
And they can leave freely. There's a hotel near me, I watch them. So they're not secure. Our girls and women are not safe. Our businesses are not safe from crime. None of us are safe. And I'm sorry, I care more about the people here than I do anyone else.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was having this row with Kemi Badenoch the other day. Listen, she has put out a message to all of her councils and councillors up and down the country saying we must challenge the hotels up and down the country on the back of Epping. And what I said to her was this. I said, I don't want there to be any hotels. I don't want there to be any HMOs. All right? I think most of you agree that I would rather they were arrested, detained, deported, as I said at the start of this show. However, what is worse? I think it is worse for migrants to be in homes on streets up and down the country. You've only got to look at what happened in Northern Ireland not that long ago to see the kind of distress this will cause small communities. We even had reports that potentially councils would buy up whole streets. Not only would that massively impact the housing market when people can't even buy and own homes, and they'll be there permanently. Let's not play games here. We all know that they won't earn enough money to ever be offered benefits, so we know the government are going to have them there in perpetuity, which is a massive slap in the face to the people who are waiting patiently for social housing, who are in much worse accommodation than most of these illegal migrants are today. I would rather they stayed in their hotels now and then were deported. The other thing I tell you is this. When they go to HMOs, they've had their appeal, most of them. So that means they have a right to remain here. And once they have a right to remain here, it's very hard. It's very, very hard to get rid of them under international law. So once they've had those appeals, and Starmer wants to speed this all up, that's more of them staying in this country. So don't be, and I said this is what I was saying to Kemi Badenoch, don't wish this on our country too quickly. That's what I was saying.
That's why I think what I've been calling kamikaze Kemi got wrong. I think what she said was such a disgrace because she knows that what this would lead to is a rushed job, a botched job, and a complete failure of a system that's already pretty rubbish. And she knows that because she's been in power, she's been in government, as does Robert Jenrick.
OK, do you not think... This is a true question. This is not a trick question. Do you not think that if the government was sensible about gauging the mood of the people, even if they weren't going to do anything about the rest of the hotels in the country, the sensible thing for them to do this week, to say, OK, we won the court case, but we hear your concerns in Epping, we're moving that group out.
And I think we can also touch back on the fact that we still, in this country, do not have an active deterrent. We don't have an active deterrent.
But I get that.
So
you and I both know that the answer is yes, it would be a good symbol. It would show they're taking something seriously, but where does that end? Then everybody will want to.
All right. Well, that debate, I'm sure, will continue as ever because it's we have to move on now because it's time for our latest Great British giveaway, and it's our biggest prize to date, worth over £104,000. You could win a 4-berth motorhome worth over 74 grand plus a whopping 30k in tax-free cash. Here's Hayley Sparks with all the details.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof light, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For a chance to win the motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, still to come tonight.
Mate, don't say that because that irritates me and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that.
That's going to be a good one. Yes, it's almost time for Triggered Tantrums. But next, we'll talk about the hundreds of thousands of foreign students who have helped us turn universities into immigration machines. It's the latest scandal. This is Saturday 5 on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, gbnews.com/your say. Get your questions in for Ask the Five. Thank you for your messages so far. Alf says, hotels or HMOs, I don't care as long as they are back in the country they came from. I don't want either of them here. Totally agree with you, Alf. Spot on. OK, well, let's move on because massive 560,000 people who have been admitted to the United Kingdom under the student visa system since 2022. Guess what? Well, they remained in the country after their original visa expired. Surprise, surprise. And close to 1/3 of asylum claims now come from those who originally came here on a student visa. So how has this been allowed to happen on such a wide scale? Well, to discuss this, I'm pleased to welcome immigration lawyer Ivan Sampson. Ivan, pleasure to see you as ever. I feel like I see you almost every day at the moment, which is always fun. Ivan, listen, many British people already feel the asylum claim system is far too high. We're talking about over 500,000 people overstaying their visas. You're an immigration lawyer. What sort of mechanisms do they have to remain in the UK after their visa expired?
No, I don't think they actually overstay. I think the report said is they stay beyond the validity of their visa. So many of these students will be applying for what's called post-study worker visas. So they switch their visas from their student visa to another type of visa, which allows them to stay for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So it doesn't actually mean they're overstaying.
Okay. Let's dig into the
approach.
Yeah, well, let's dig into this. 1/3 of them are now making up all of the asylum claims in the country. So because that's quite an interesting statistic. So, you know, that's still quite a high number because, of course, we always attribute asylum seekers to the people coming over on the small boats, but we often don't speak about the ones who've come here legally.
Yes, and I think the countries where most of the applications are coming from are either Pakistan, Nigeria or Bangladesh. Primarily, those are the 3 countries where the majority of these asylum claims. Look, what we have to have is a system where we can deal with these applications quickly, because these people who abuse the system know full well that it could take maybe 2 years or more to consider their claim, during which time, because they were here as students, they're permitted to work. So effectively what they do, so if you come as a student and then change it to a post-study worker visa, you've got another 2 years, and you claim asylum, that's another 2 years, you can effectively stay 4 more years in the country and be legally entitled to work. So the Home Office, what it needs to do is have a efficient system of dealing with these. And they do, because they can certify these applications. They can actually certify them because they don't have any merits at all. The problem is not just with these students, it's with the Home Office. They're not competent. And I think we've all realised that we need to have an overhaul of our asylum system, the way we process application. It has to be an efficient way. And I think we need a root and branch change of the Home Office management. They're not competent to run the system.
Ivan, I think traditionally, I think there's been the mistake of looking at immigration as just economic widgets and will they be net contributors or net takers from the economy. There are more people now thinking about the cultural element and cultural integration, which I think is a good thing. Is there any work done when you look at student visas to look at where these students are coming from and whether they're coming from countries which, let's say, would be culturally compatible with a Western liberal democracy, or is it a free-for-all?
No, most students come from India. So 100,000 of that 500,000 are come from India, and then just under 100,000 are coming from China. So, you have to remember that students spend a year £30 billion into our economy. And this money pays for our public services. I know the government are trying to plug a black hole of £40 billion. Well, we'll have another 30 billion if we didn't have these students. And also remember that they do jobs here and pay taxes, national insurance contributions, many of them. And also remember also that the universities, our home students, are able to have cheaper fees because the foreign students pay a much higher rate of fees. They subsidise our home students. So I think you need to have a balanced approach about this. We do need students. The world's a very competitive market, and if we don't allow students in, they'll go to the US, they'll go to other Canada and other countries, and so we have to be careful not to put people off.
Hi, Ivan. When I was at medical school, we had lots of students from Malaysia who were foreign students, obviously paying those higher fees. And they were all contracted by their government to go back to Malaysia once they'd secured their medical degree and practice medicine there for 5 to 10 years. So as a government, we could firstly insist that India have the same kind of policy for anyone coming over here on a student visa. But should we not go even further and say to anybody arriving on a student visa that their claim for asylum, if they make it at any point, would not be recognised?
Well, you have to comply with the Refugee Convention. And if we're going to amend that, that will need an Act of Parliament. If you're going to disapply parts of it to accommodate students, that would need an Act of Parliament. So, yes, it can be done. But as I said, I think we need to look at the way to enforce compliance, and enforcement. Because you're always going to get people to abuse the system. And this is the problem. This country is a soft touch. We're seen as a soft touch around the world. People know that they're going to be here for 2 years while the Home Office twiddle their thumbs trying to figure out what to do. It's underfunded. It's not properly the Home Office immigration officers who just make the decision. They're not properly trained. I mean, I deal with them. You should read some of the refusal letters. It's an absolute joke. So I think that it needs a root and branch overhaul. We can reduce most of this problem by having an efficient compliance and enforcement system. We just don't have it.
Well, Ivan Sampson, an immigration lawyer. It's nice to agree with you so much tonight, actually. It's very refreshing. Ivan, lovely to see you. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Listen, I think, yes, I actually agree with Ivan. I think the system is completely broken, and it's been broken for a super long time, hasn't it? Really, really long time. And I still don't think people who come here from safe countries like Pakistan need to be given asylum claims whatsoever. They shouldn't be allowed to even legally put one in, but there we go.
Let alone China or India.
Yeah, let alone China or India. But anyway, coming up is triggered tantrums. Take a look at this.
Your rant this evening was probably the most xenophobic speech in the history of British broadcasting.
What did you not like about it, Michael?
If you think that justify...
Answer the question. Do you disagree with her?
I know you're an arrogant swine online.
So good. Something special lined up for all of you. You want to hang on for Triggered Tantrums. Trust me, it's going to be a good one tonight. But next, if you don't like seeing people making millions of pounds from the migrant crisis, find out why. I might have some good news for you. You're with the Saturday 5 live on GB News. Don't go anywhere.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Storm Augustine is easing across northern parts of Europe, bringing mostly settled conditions, though we can't rule out some showers at times. For example, across northwest Portugal, northern parts of Spain and western parts of France, we just have some outbreaks of rain pushing through here. But otherwise, as we move our way eastwards across the Mediterranean, mostly high pressure dominating, so plenty of sunshine to go around. Though as we head into next week, there's a chance we could just start to see some thundery showers push into parts of Italy, but temperatures mostly remaining in the mid to high 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Low pressure in charge of our weather at the moment. It's bringing a band of rain eastwards, but it should soon clear, and then blustery showers will follow overnight. And it's another windy day across the whole of the UK through Sunday. We can see low pressure just anchored to the northwest of the UK at the moment, driving weather systems eastwards. That rain will soon clear eastern parts of England, northeast Scotland as we head into the early hours. And then overnight we'll see a mixture of clear spells and showers. Showers most frequent across western areas. Some of them could be heavy at times. The odd rumble of thunder is possible, and it stays quite blustery here. Temperatures for everyone with that wind around and showers staying in double figures around 12 to 14 Celsius. So a bright start on Sunday morning, a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers. The overnight rain just about clearing Shetland first thing, and then a bright start across much of Scotland. Some showers in the west from the word go. Breezy though, particularly in the west, gusts of 40 miles an hour or so. Mixture of sunny spells and showers for Northern Ireland into northern England. Wales and southern parts of England also seeing a scattering of showers, whilst the Midlands, East Anglia, southeast England should initially be largely dry, but we'll see some showers developing here through the day. And a windy day for everyone. The wind's coming in from the southwest, gales around western coast, perhaps 50-60 mile an hour gusts for eastern parts of Northern Ireland into western Scotland. Some persistent rain developing here later on in the afternoon. Widespread showers for many. Where you miss them, in the sunshine, temperatures reaching 22 or 23 Celsius, but feeling rather cool with that blustery wind. For Monday, low pressure still in charge. Frequent showers across northern and western parts. Some heavy showers in there, some thunderstorms. Those pushing eastwards as the day goes on. And another blustery day for much of the country, and it stays unsettled for the week ahead. Further showers, there'll be some sunshine in between, temperatures around average. See you again soon.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, everybody. We love hearing your views. gbnews.com/your say and get your questions in for Ask the 5. You're going to have a lovely time with Dr. Renee reading out all of your great questions to the panel. OK, but let's get on to this. Yes, it's Bunch of 5. This is a part of the show where we look at other stories that have caught our eye out of the last week. Will, what have you got for us?
Yes, Alex. Sorry, I was a bit kind of confused by the syntax there for a second, but I'm with you.
So was Alex.
My eye this week. Well, something did catch my eye this week in the Financial Times. We know that birth rates across the West have been declining now for some time. In the UK, they've hit their lowest levels ever. But there was a really interesting layer of analysis below that top line data, and that is that the birth rate for Conservatives remains steady, above the replacement rate of 2.1, and the birth rate for Progressives has plummeted in the United States. And I imagine this trend would be consistent in the UK as well. I guess this is what happens when you have one side who are loonies, who say they're not going to have kids until the climate crisis is over, and another side who supports the institution of the family. So have no fear. If you're worried about all these lefties that we see on triggered tantrums every week, we will outbreed them, ladies and gentlemen.
Unfortunately, the only problem is we don't guarantee, Conservatives don't guarantee, conservative children. That's the problem.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
Although I think this is really interesting because I think there are lots of reasons why the Progressives are not having babies. I think they're the most boring generation ever.
Yeah.
They're not drinking, they're not going to parties. I say bring back drugs, sex and rock and roll.
Yeah.
But also, half of them think they're the opposite sex to the one they are, or they're non-binary and they can't get involved in it all. You know,
and importantly, they seem to love abortions. I don't know. That seems to be quite a common trend in America. No, it doesn't. There was this whole trend in America going, like, we saw these women saying that they're going to get abortions. And I was like, well, OK, well, if that's the case, then your birth rate's going to plummet. But we have to move on to the next story. So while we're with you, Renee, what's the next one?
Mine is just that there are now a million people who are signed off sick with no requirement to work, who are earning more in sickness, housing and disability benefits, mainly for mental health, than someone on the minimum wage who pays tax. So if you're on the minimum wage and you're paying your tax, you earn £22,500 a year. If you go off long-term sick, you earn £25,000, and you're getting your housing and everything else. So, you know, is it any wonder that we can't get these young people back into work?
A million people.
A million.
A million people.
What do you make of that, Bruce?
Yeah, well, it's staggering, isn't it, that Labour keep banging on about one of their best policies, or their only good policy since they've been in government, was to raise national minimum wage, but it simply isn't enough.
No.
It's not enough for people to live on. The apprenticeship wage is a disgrace, in my opinion.
If you can
if you can get one. I worked in that sector for a long, long time. There are a lot of very hard-working young men and women trying to go into apprenticeships, trying to get skills, and they're simply underfunded. They're expected. There are a lot of good organisations out there, a lot of good companies that help funding kids. But I would say 50 to 60% of construction organisations, they expect young carpenters, young brickies to buy all their own tools, fund their own transport, and they are paid a ludicrously low minimum wage.
And they get more if they go on the sick.
And they get more for going on the
Very brief
sick.
response from you on that one, Kai?
No, I agree. I mean, I've met so many able-bodied men recently who just have got used to a life of welfare when, in fact, they should be contributing. But why would you if you can get all those benefits?
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, are you sad at home for those poor hotel tycoons who have obviously had the message from the government that they will be closing the asylum hotels by the end of the part? Whether you believe that or not is one thing, but unfortunately these lucrative government contracts seem to be drying up because the hotels are down. I know the government are actually putting more people into bigger hotels rather than lots of smaller ones, but the gravy train's almost over, isn't it, for the poor hoteliers? Bruce, will you be visiting any ex-migrant hotels at any point in time?
Probably.
Yeah? OK. That's not the response I was looking for there.
Might get a cheap deal. No, I won't actually be visiting any of them. To be perfectly honest, I think people should boycott them. I don't know whether I can say that or not. I think they should be. I think if you're accepting these... I heard of a... So, I don't know if people know about the story that happened in Dis. In Dis, I think it's the Park Hotel, they had legitimate refugee families in there. They'd been there for a year and a half. I covered a bit of this story. They've now booted them out. No one knows where they're going. They got given 2 weeks' notice to be replaced by illegal migrant men. So legitimate refugees who were being housed in a hotel have been kicked out to be replaced by illegal migrants.
Well, there you go. Renee, what do you make of that?
I have no time for them.
I was actually outraged that the hotel owner joined the government's action this week against the injunction against Epping, because they don't give a damn about these people in their hotels. All they care about is they now have a full hotel with guaranteed rental for 5 years. And I suspect they've got clauses that even if that hotel gets closed, they'll get paid for the next 5 years.
Yeah. Bruce, what's your story? We need to move on.
So again, another poll, another new record for Reform UK as they take a 15-point lead and are now the unofficial opposition.
Yeah, quite incredible stuff. And this follows, of course, the week they announced their mass deportations policy. Will, do you think that's the reason why they're going up in the polls?
I've been very consistent. I think the reason they're so high in the polls is because of the hatred for Labor and the Conservatives, and I think that is still the case. I'll note that people were laughing when Reform privately said that we're targeting 40%. No one is laughing now.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Kai, you shaking in your boots for the Labour Party?
I've been saying for months that it's coming. Not that I want it. No, I never said that, Alex. I think you're fine.
You told me you were going to win our bet, and you're not, are you?
I think one of Wales is going to go.
No, but I think it's between Plaid and Reform for biggest party in Wales.
I agree.
I think next year is going to pay. It's going to tell how we're going with this.
Yeah. All right, Kai, what's your bunch of 5?
Well, do you think Lego, Disney films, and Star Wars are for kids or adults? Yes, this is a YouGov poll that's ranked what Brits think different hobbies are. Are they for children, like stuffed animals, dressing up in costumes, and Disney films? Or are they for adults, playing sports, collecting things, and Lord of the Rings? There's quite a few different funny nuggets in there. If you want to be more kid-like, then Disney and Harry Potter are the ones for you. But Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons are for adults.
I'm slightly offended by this because, I mean, Star Wars was never really owned by Disney until recently, and they have destroyed it. So the old-school Star Wars stuff is absolutely phenomenal. Like Empire Strikes Back and New Hope.
That's for adults?
Stuff, but that's for adults.
Oh, British public disagree.
Take it from someone who was born in 70s. I am a major Star Wars fan, major Marvel fan. Major Lego fan. If people ever see my videos, I've got Legos in the background, I've got Stormtroopers in the background. Star Wars for me has always been for adults, and I think, and they've tried to redo them over the years to incorporate a younger generation with new trilogies. But the Lego, I love Lego.
Okay, Will, very briefly from you, mate.
Was political commentary one of the hobbies on the list, out of curiosity?
Well, it depends if you're left wing or right wing, I'm afraid.
It certainly does. Well, that's a bunch of 5, but still to come tonight.
Mike, don't say that, because that irritates me, and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that.
Oh, yes. I've got to say, I think this might be the best trigger tantrums we've ever had. You're with the Saturday 5 Live on GB News.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
We're reigning supreme this morning. I'm so happy.
Did you watch it then? Did you enjoy it?
I was a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
Honestly. Why did it come down to the crunch like that?
Because it's England. You know what? No matter whether it's the women or the men, it still keeps you on the edge of your seat. But they've got this resilience. The thing is that we've never seen with the men before. I suppose it's changed a little bit, but it really is that. I don't want to use any cliches, but that's my job. That's my job. Never say die attitude. And it was terrific. Do you know, though, for how long, out of the 3 knockout games that England played after the group stage, for how long they were actually ahead?
Go on.
Don't worry, I'll tell you. 4 minutes and 52 seconds across 3 entire games was the amount of time they were actually ahead. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make any difference.
No. Yeah.
They came back and they won it. It was brilliant.
Would it have been better? I was going to say.
Are you looking at
you know, but in terms of if we'd had a stronger game, if we'd been really punching in this rather than it going right down to the wire.
No, I don't think so. No. I don't think it really. I honestly don't think it matters. It's just about who wins, and when you've got a trophy. Which is up for grabs there, and also for the second time that the Lionesses have done it. And they were underdogs. I mean,
were they?
Yeah, they were. Yeah. You'll have players that will say, "Oh no, I don't think so." And I said to you on Friday, there wasn't much in it.
Yeah, they were of equal footing.
But the Spanish team were the favourites. They're the world champions. And also pound for pound, if you look player for player, again, there's another cliche for you. They would have been the better side, but it's a team game. It's how everybody reacts together, how everybody plays alongside each other, and the management.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other.
So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. gbnews.com/you'll say get your questions in for Ask the Five. That is rapidly approaching at 8 o'clock. I'll read some of your comments out here very briefly. Let's have a quick look here. Richard says, on the topic of universities and immigration, Blair decided 50% of the 18-year-old cohort should go to uni, yes. And, of course, one interesting fact of this is that actually a lot of those foreign students are actually going to some of the worst universities but paying top fees for them. So, the grift continues, doesn't it?
Can I add something to that? Because actually, Ivan said something quite interesting. That international students subsidise national students, and that's right. And actually, I think the reason why this immigration continues is the university sector in the UK. If international students are disincentivised, is going to collapse because of some of the. There's bloat. There's bloat.
It's totally bloated, and it's been propped up. It's a Ponzi scheme.
No, I agree.
It's a Ponzi scheme. I didn't do my degree, to be quite honest with you. Dam says no surprise. Progressive lefties are not having babies. They're also confused about gender. They don't know what to do with the deed.
Exactly.
There we go. Yeah.
They are bonkers, but they're not bonking.
There we go. Right. Now it's time for Triggered Tantrums. We in my crackpot panel scour the internet every week for the craziest meltdowns.
Some of us.
And we've got something very special for you tonight, but just wait until you see this lot. Will is going up first.
Yeah, we've got a tantrum from the colonies, Alex. This is Bob Caddo. He's a independent member of the Australian House of Representatives. I was trying to work out who would be the closest British equivalent to try and frame it for you, but he's the kind of politician only Australia can produce. This was in response to a journalist's question after the journalist said that he had long-distance Lebanese heritage.
Lebanese heritage yourself? Oh, mate, don't say that, because that irritates me, and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that. Don't you dare say that. My family have been in this country for 140 years, right? So if you say anything like that, I have, on many occasions, punched blokes in the mouth, right? So I'm restraining myself today. Don't say it. I'm not listening to you. You're out. Sorry.
Now, that's how you deal with these lefty, namby-pamby
The problem
journalists.
I've got is he seems super triggered by such a basic question. He kind of is triggered by it.
For context, he will do something like that once every 6 months. He's great.
I love seeing his interventions because he does give off crazy vibes sometimes.
I wish we had politicians like that.
I think the last one we actually had who did it on live was John Prescott.
I was about to say that. Exactly right.
That's true. Renee, you've got a trigger tantrum for us.
I do. This reminded me of having children, because children believe, when you're their parent, that parents get issued with a bank card as soon as they hit 18, and that card just gives them free money out of the cash point. Watch this, guys.
If you use Apple Pay, honestly, just be so careful. This is a little embarrassing to admit, but if this could help one person, then I'm really willing to share what my experience was. I'm just gonna lay it out like this. When you use Apple Pay, that's real money. That's true American dollars from your credit card. If you have your credit card connected, that's where the money is being sourced from. It's not like a special form of Apple Pay, Apple dollars. Why they don't just say this is real money while you're paying, I don't know. Because I thought that I had accumulated a bunch of Apple dollars to use for Apple Pay by, spending so much time on my phone, giving my data very freely and willingly.
What plan? These people.
He's accumulated Apple dollars. What's he been doing?
Oh my God!
Wants to date her.
Well, beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
I wonder how much she spent to be crying, though. I reckon she spent a fortune. They looked at her credit card and going, "Oh my goodness, I didn't have 1 million Apple dollars to spare."
Must have been a heavy night.
Honestly, you just can't make it up with these people, can you?
I would like to point out that she has 65,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh my goodness! Well, we need to stop making stupid people famous. We really.
Yeah, it's very well said.
It's just such. It's It's a disappointing life we lead sometimes, isn't it? Because, you know, we look at our young people and we think they're going to save us. They are the future of our society. And there's this great podcast, and there's lots of clips of it on TikTok and Instagram. There's this guy, his name's Caleb Hammer, and he basically coaches people. It's called something like finance therapy. And the people that go onto that podcast are absolutely delusional. They are delusional. They don't know what they don't even know they don't understand the concept of money in.
Is that where Rachel Reeves learned her?
Yeah.
I think she might need to go on it, actually.
I believe it's a product of the education system, isn't it? It has to be, because we're not teaching people this. I mean, I don't want to quote a celebrity and misquote who it was, but there was a celebrity that went quite viral recently who came out and said, oh, my God, I didn't believe that these people that were giving me gifts on TikTok, that's actual real money. Yeah. And the people that are doing it just don't... And their parents are getting credit card bills because they've been forking out £100, £200 on TikTok gifts or Facebook gifts or whatever, and they're just gifting these people left, right and centre and don't even realise it's real money.
It's totally insane. It's totally insane. Anyway, I've prepared something very special for you all this week, so please
We'll
enjoy.
be the judge of that.
Your rant this evening was probably the most xenophobic speech in the history of British broadcasting.
What did you not like about it, Michael?
If you think that justify...
Answer the question. Do you disagree with her?
I know you're an arrogant swine online, but...
Well, you might not like being checkmated, but you disagree with Rachel Reeves, then. That's good to know. And seriously, so you will not condemn Hamas, who have
I can say whatever I like.
Well, you can, but I tell you what, the British public are watching you. The British public are watching you. How can a 4-year-old be questioning their gender? Some of them don't even understand the concept of gender. I don't care. I do not care about the bodily autonomy of paedophiles, Kai. Let me just make that crystal clear. So people, there is an irony, isn't there, of people who want freedom of speech. There is an irony of people who are protesting for freedom of speech but don't want to hear what we have to say.
You know, it made Nick Griffin and the BNP look like moderates.
Absolutely ludicrous, ridiculous statement.
Millions of houses when we were in...
you missed every target, Mr. Cleverly. You missed every single target you set for yourselves.
They are not entirely qualified to do journalism or reporting like you. But
Jonathan, I think you're just being nasty and rude. I've asked you a sensible question and you just can't answer it, can you, Jonathan?
We are not in government now. If we were in government, we would be solving
your councillors down the country, Kevin. You're challenging your councillors to take legal action. You're going to force the government.
Taylor Swift, you are a loser. Okay, you're a huge loser.
No,
all right.
because...
Alex, we've got to take
stupid.
I had to give you some of my highlights because I've been doing this for 2 years now, at least 2 years. It's been way longer than that. I've been fighting the left in the crazy, absurd, triggered lefties. And do you know what? It's as enjoyable as it looks for all of you watching at home. Winding people like Kai up is just a great way to spend my weekends. If you ever wondered whether we enjoy this, we absolutely love it. And we love that you love it too. And, of course, I wanted to tease that up tonight because, of course, from 9 o'clock, it's the debut of Alex Armstrong tonight, and we're going to have a banging show. It's going to kick itself off with a bang because we're going to be talking about this new ethnicity by birth rate data that's just come out, and I'm going to be talking about the consequences of that for this country. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. We've got some brilliant guests coming on. Peter Blexy's going to be here, Linda Jubilee, Paul Richards, the usual gang, and we're going to have a really sensational show. So I hope that gives you a taste of what is to come on the show every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 9 o'clock. Shameless self-promotion there, but I hope you all didn't mind it. Hopefully Will, you'll be joining me on the show too, hey?
I'll be there next Sunday, Alex, and I loved that because it included two things that I love about this show: your shameless self-promotion and Kai defending the very worst of society. It's what makes this show what it is.
Long may it last.
No, it's absolutely great. And of course, coming up next hour, Dr. Renee is going to be stepping in for the Saturday 5 Extra. It'll be super exciting. We're going to have lots of Ask the Fives,
lots of Ask the Fives. We've got the rest of the triggered tantrums.
We do.
They're always worthwhile. Have to keep Kai in check. That's always hard.
That's it.
Try your best.
And of course, coming up from next weekend, this show, if you missed the start of the show tonight, this show is going to change a little bit. So basically what's going to happen is everyone here on the panel will have a chance to host the show themselves, including Guy Wilshaw. So you're going to want to watch the Saturday 5 because it's going to be very different every weekend now, which helps me a little bit so I don't have to do too much talking and yapping because you all get bored of me. But also, I think these guys are going to absolutely smash it out of the park. Well, loads more coming up, of course, coming up in the next hour. We will be getting to lots more trigger tantrums. Anything can happen. They all get a drink. I don't, unfortunately. I'm not going to be able to drink a pint anymore. But please stay with us Saturday 5 Extra, and don't forget to join me at 9 o'clock for Alex Armstrong tonight. Trust me, it's going to be a big few hours this evening. We will see you after the break.
Gosh.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Low pressure in charge of our weather at the moment. It's bringing a band of rain eastwards, but it should soon clear, and then blustery showers will follow overnight. And it's another windy day across the whole of the UK through Sunday. We can see low pressure just anchored to the northwest of the UK at the moment, driving weather systems eastwards. That rain will soon clear eastern parts of England, northeast Scotland as we head into the early hours. And then overnight we'll see a mixture of clear spells and showers. Showers most frequent across western areas. Some of them could be heavy at times. The odd rumble of thunder is possible, and it stays quite blustery here. Temperatures for everyone with that wind around and showers staying in double figures around 12 to 14 Celsius. So a bright start on Sunday morning, a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers. The overnight rain just about clearing Shetland first thing, and then a bright start across much of Scotland. Some showers in the west from the word go. Breezy though, particularly in the west, gusts of 40 miles an hour or so. Mixture of sunny spells and showers for Northern Ireland into northern England. Wales and southern parts of England also seeing a scattering of showers, whilst the Midlands, East Anglia, South East England should initially be largely dry, but we'll see some showers developing here through the day. And a windy day for everyone. The wind's coming in from the southwest. Gales around western coast, perhaps 50-60 mile an hour gusts for eastern parts of Northern Ireland into western Scotland. Some persistent rain developing here later on in the afternoon. Widespread showers for many. Where you miss them, in the sunshine, temperatures reaching 22 or 23 Celsius, but feeling rather cool with that blustery wind. For Monday, low pressure still in charge. Frequent showers across northern and western parts. Some heavy showers in there, some thunderstorms. Those pushing eastwards as the day goes on. And another blustery day for much of the country. And it stays unsettled for the week ahead. Further showers. There'll be some sunshine in between. Temperatures around average. See you again soon.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax